Good evening. It is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021, and coming to you live from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamm Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamm. With me is my second favorite child, my son Parker. Say hello, Parker.
It didn't feel very good when you said it.
No, second favorite wasn't. I mean, I thought it was fair. It's keeping you humble.
I suppose so.
I'm
trying. That's one way to look at it.
I mean, if I tell you guys all, I tell each one of you you're number 2, and that way you'll do better.
That's right. Keeps us striving for that top spot.
That's
when
what
you can't get it.
That's what I see. That's what I'm doing. Just trying to help you guys out. It's a life lesson. We are live streaming on YouTube. We are on Twitter at Lamm Sports, on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can send us an email, lammsports@gmail.com, and please check out our webpage, lammsports.com. You can find links to past shows and the current trivia question on there. So, the beginning part of our show, as always, brought to you by The Range. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting facility at 34,000 square feet. The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail firearm sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services, all under one roof. Open Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 7. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. Phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you ask for Chelsea and mention the Best Lamm Sports Show. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So we got some stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the NHL tonight. We're leading off with the NHL tonight. They're back. They played a week's worth of games now. And we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the NBA, also in full swing, minus, the teams that are COVID problems. And there's a bunch of them in both leagues. And 4 really good and a little bit lucky NFL teams have reached the conference championship games set for this Sunday. But first, we're going to have a trivia question.
Oh, boy.
Because that's what we do. And since it's hockey night, we're having a hockey trivia question. So the Best Lamm Sports Show trivia question is brought to you by Stone Winery in Hood River. So here's my trivia question for the night. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Who holds the NHL record for points in a single game, and how many did he have?
Ooh.
So, in case people aren't familiar with hockey, and my listeners are probably familiar with hockey, but in case you're not familiar with hockey, you get 1 point for a goal, 1 point for an assist. So, the question is, what's the record in a single game, and who did it? So, it's 2 parts. So, all right. So, we'll tell you the answer at the end of the game at the end of
that works too.
Whatever. At the end of the contest, the end of the show, the end of the whatever we're doing here. I have no idea what we're doing. And so, like I said, we're going to talk about the NHL, and since it's NHL night, and the first thing we're going to talk about, I want to tell you about a game I watched last night. So I'm watching. It comes on. So watching on, in case you don't get it, it's on NBC Sports. They're covering a lot of hockey right now. So last night, Pittsburgh and Washington come on, and I'm watching the game. I didn't see the very beginning of the game, but when I tune in, it's 3-1 Washington, right? And what I'm watching is at the end of the very end of the first period, and Pittsburgh's not looking so good. They're not doing well. It's 3-1. So start of the second period, I almost turns it off, right? But your mom comes down and she sits down. She said she wants to know more about hockey. So I started answering questions. She started firing away questions about hockey. So I told her everything I knew, which took like 4 minutes. But I kept watching. So the Penguins then score on a power play by Jake Gensel, and hold on just a second. Having technical difficulties, I think here. Okay. Is it cutting off the sound? Parker, can you hear me? And I can't hear Parker. Awesome. I hate it when there's technical difficulties. So we are going to start it up again. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't know what happened. We had a technical glitch.
Sounds right.
Okay, that's what we do. So here's the thing. It was where did I leave off? It was 3-1. Started the second period.
Yep.
You heard that? Your mom came down?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Penguins on a power play. Scored. Jake Gensel scores to make it 3-2. 2.5 minutes later, Washington's Evgeny Kuznetsov scores. He makes it 4-2. Then comes the back-to-back penalties on Pittsburgh. Gensel gets 2 minutes for hooking, which he totally did hook. And then 66 seconds later, Chad Ruhwedel gets 2 minutes for slashing. Kind of. He kind of stuck his stick in there and kind of hacked at a wrist. I mean, kind of. Anyway, that's not the point. Long story short, Pens are now down 2 goals and 2 men. It's a 5-on-3 power play for Washington, right?
Sure.
And I literally am explaining that the point of a penalty killing line is to waste time and clear the zone as much as possible, right? They're trying to kill off the penalty. That's the whole point, is dump it, right? And I just finished explaining that how difficult it is to score when you're 2 men down. Right? At that point, right as I finished saying that, Pens goalie Casey DeSmith gets the puck. He lofts a little floating saucer pass just over the center line, and and Teddy Bluger comes racing in and gets it. It comes cutting across the front of Washington goalie Vitek Vanacek. He slides one between his legs. Super shorthanded goal. Makes it look super easy. All of a sudden, it's 4-3. Right? And I was like,
back in it.
And I was like, that never happens, right? So then they back me up. The guys on TV have to back me up, and they say, hey, there's only been 6 of these since 2012-13 season, right?
Sounds right.
So I'm like, so it's pretty rare, and it's the first one for Pittsburgh since the 2011 season. So anyway, so then next thing you know, Pens add a slap shot goal from Evgeny Malkin. Ties the game at 4 at the end of the second. Nobody scores in the third. It goes to overtime. Comes about a minute in, give or take. Chris Letang takes a pass from Gensel, fires it. It bounces off Vanacek and right to Sidney Crosby, who's standing there in front of the goal. He taps it in for the game winner. And the Pens win 5-4. Crosby doing exactly what great players do, and he gets himself in front of the goal, and the puck found him. It was a fantastic finish. It was a great game to watch.
I wouldn't say that he tapped it in. He had to do that little move where he like swum it around the
corner. But for a guy like him, that was pretty easy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So Pens win, and they take 2 from the Capitals. So now they're 2-2 on the season. They lost the opening 2 games of the Flyers. And really had been, goaltending had been an issue until, well, it's still being an issue because they gave up 4 goals. They gave up 4 goals.
I was say we're not going to celebrate this guy right now.
No, but I mean, if your team can score 5, then it's okay to give up 4, right?
It's not a recipe for constant success.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it is possible to do it, is all I'm saying. And yeah, so long story short, that was fun. It was fun to watch. And so I pull up the standings here. So I'm going to show everybody what we got here, which is the standings on NHL.com. And I don't know if everybody can see it. They can see it. So here's one of the things I noticed. And by the way, I've never looked at NHL.com before. I've only ever looked at ESPN or NBC Sports.com. Anyway, long story short, the divisions are named. Like, not just West, East. It's the Honda West, the Mass Mutual East, the Scotia North, and the Discover Central. And I was like, wow, they're sponsored. Each division has a sponsor. How come this is not a thing? How come this is not a thing in every league and they're making more money that way? So I don't know. Anyway, long story short, your leaders in the division, your division leaders are Vegas in the West. They are a perfect 3-0. The Philadelphia Flyers are 3-1. Washington is 2-0-2 with those 2 overtime losses. And hockey standings get a little confusing because what they include on here is wins, losses, overtime losses, right? And then later on in the statistics, it's this regular time wins and then overtime wins. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really confusing. Anyway,
it's a lot.
It is a lot. So Philadelphia's leading the East. Toronto at 3-1, they lead the North. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, last year's Stanley Cup champions, are tied with Florida, the Florida Panthers. They are both tied at 2-0. They're leading the Discover Central, which also has Dallas in it, who hasn't played a game yet, thanks to COVID and some other things. So there's going to be some makeup stuff going on. It's going to be one of those years again where you have a lot of made up games, missing games, postponed games, whatever you want to call it. So hold on to your hats.
To be expected.
Be flexible. That's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll talk more about hockey next week, and we'll delve in a little deeper. I think maybe we'll see because we're gonna have only 2 football games to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't take in theory.
Well, we're gonna have 2 football games to talk about, and so NHL is gonna take more of a role. NHL and NBA are what's gonna carry us through all winter, right? So
Yeah.
until until the other sports start, the hot weather sports start. So all right. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about the NBA. Should we do that?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers. So Portland is 8-6, playing a little up and down right now. They're 2-2 in their last 2 games. Big story for Portland right now is injuries. Nurkic has a wrist injury. He had surgery on it, and
Right.
and now he's out what 6 weeks? Yeah, 6 weeks. He seems a little injury prone. Maybe it's me. I mean, this is a new injury, right? Because they were leg injuries before, but now we're talking about
it's nothing that he's ever had before.
No, but I mean, the more parts that get broken, I get a little more concerned.
He definitely doesn't seem to have consistent durability.
He's starting to sound like me. I mean, when when you get to my age, these things happen. And I, I'm going to tell you that I cut myself painting the other day.
That's an interesting.
I was painting. I was painting a wall, and the ladder. It's like a little 3-step outdoor ladder, right?
Yeah.
That I was using inside because it was the best ladder I had for the job. But I'm doing it. Well, long story short, on the front edges of those steps, the 2 steps that it actually has, it's metal, but it's really sharp underneath. I didn't realize that until I went to go step up, and the top of my ankle hit the underside of that step, and it literally just sliced my foot open. And I was like, "This is a good story because now I can tell everybody that I cut myself painting, which you don't hear very often.
You really don't.
You really don't,
because it doesn't happen.
That only happens when you're old." So let's talk about the Blazers. Nurkic has his wrist injury. McCollum fractured his foot, is what they're finding out after further review, and he's going to be out at least 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate one.
Yeah, and McCollum, that's definitely more concerning than the Nurk injury right now. I think we would agree that the backups can handle if Nurk is out for a period of time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
They can sustain. I mean, Enes Kanter's a better rebounder anyways.
Yeah, but I don't think you can replace McCollum at this point. So, I mean, somebody's got to step up and try and score his 30 a night that he's been scoring. That's going to be hard to do. So, I don't know. What do you think? How do you feel moving forward? So you're going to be at least 4 weeks without both starters. I don't know. I feel like this is when somebody's gonna have to step up. So one of the other players, guards, forward, somebody's gonna have to step up and score and cover that load. I don't know who that's gonna be because I don't know that any of them have really shown that they're that scorer. You know what I mean? I mean, if everybody stepped up and scored 4 extra points, it might work out. But that's
Gary
hard.
Trent would be your best hope for stepping up, but the problem is this year, even in his minutes, he had that one really big game early in the season, and ever since then he's been kind of meh. A little up, a little down, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, kind of meh. I guess that's the right answer. I feel like they've got some talent. They've gotten they're still 8-6. I mean, they're still right there. I think they're 6th in the West right now after 14 games. This is a 77 game season. There's a lot of basketball left to play, and I'm not saying they're going to lose it all, but this is a possibility for 4 weeks where you could lose a lot of ground.
Right.
And it might be unrecoverable if you can't, maintain. Literally, if they can play 500 basketball during that time and remain 2 games above 500, they're going to be in great shape.
Probably be good, yeah.
Yeah, they'll be in great shape. We're hoping they can do that. I've never been comfortable. Portland has this long and fabled history of injuries, just causing them all kinds of grief. Brandon Roy had to retire because of injuries, right?
Portland, especially with big men.
Yeah,
not our jam.
Nah, no, not really. And I the only one I could never remember getting injured was Kevin Duckworth. That was the only Portland Blazer big man that I could ever remember not being hurt at some point in time. But he probably was. I just don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, I think the Grizzlies Blazers game tonight is postponed for contact tracing. Grizzlies couldn't have enough players. They couldn't field the 8 that they needed to play. So that game's been postponed. So there's a plus. You don't got to play while you're missing your two
That's such
starters.
a crazy concept to me that they'll just postpone a game. Like, oh, we'll do it later. Like, really? We will?
Yeah, yeah, and they're already cramming games in. So I don't. They'll make it up. They'll find a way to make it up. There's an off day for both of them at some point, and they'll make it up. But it just seems weird to me that it's going to help the Blazers. This is going to help the Blazers. The longer that can happen, the more games they can get postponed during this 4 weeks, the better off they are.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Give everyone a time to heal, but you don't want to also get rusty by not playing either. So there's
Right.
that. There's that. So how do you feel about them right now, the Blazers?
I don't feel good.
If you're going to give,
I don't think they're a very good team. I think that they're missing some important aspects to their team. I think Nurk being gone. I think CJ being gone. I think that Zach Collins not being healthy off the bench. I think that we drafted so many guards at one point, and none of them are quite that guy. Just don't think it's going to work.
if you had to give them a letter grade right now,
C minus,
oh, okay.
maybe a D plus. I mean, it's a C minus on a generous grading night. You had a cup of wine, then you grade the papers. The D minus, it was a long day. No, I don't have faith in the Blazers unless they're at 100%. If they're not at 100%, I do not. And even when they're at 100%, I don't believe they're going to win as often as they should, as much as they should.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like they have way too much talent that
Not
it's
win more games.
to not win as many. They should be winning more games, but I don't know that that's necessarily true because I look around at all the other rosters. The other rosters are exact. They're kind of the same. You see them and you go, "Oh, that guy's pretty good. That guy's pretty good," right? So outside of the superstars, that's what I feel like. That's what wins you games is those other players outside of the superstars. Yes, LeBron can win you a basketball game by himself. Anthony Davis, Giannis, absolutely, but they don't do it every night. They can't just win the game every night. If you let them score for the most part and have token defense, they need to score 100 and something points. There's no way that's going to happen. So what I'm saying is I feel like it's those other players. It's not Dame and CJ. It's Gary Trent Jr. It's somebody else that's got to be that guy. That's what gets you through and wins those close games. That's what makes the difference. Is that
Well, you
right?
have some of those guys. I think Derek Jones Jr.
Yeah.
can. Well, so even when we had everybody, we were losing games by 20 points and then rallying to win. That's not what I want. You're gonna start losing those games eventually,
Right.
or they're not gonna go your way eventually. That was with full strength. Now without full strength, we've won one and lost one. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we beat the Hawks, who just can't seem to get a grasp on reality right now. But I just, I just do not believe in the Blazers. Unfortunately, I want to believe that Dame's the guy. I've watched Dame miss a lot of threes. I've watched him make a bunch of threes, but I've watched him miss a lot of threes, more than I'm comfortable with. CJ lately, I have not seen that from him, so that's good. But
Yeah.
also CJ makes ball decisions. He passes it to people who aren't there and things like that. So I when they're fully healthy, I do not believe that they're going to win a game until the game is over.
So
So when they're hurt, it's just worse.
so when you look at their record and the games that they have lost, they lost to the Jazz by 20. They lost
Yeah.
to the Clippers by 23, the Warriors by 15, the Bulls by 3. That was the only real close game. They lost to the Pacers by 24 and lost to the Spurs by 21. Those are just flat out blowouts, except for the one game.
Yeah.
That's not gonna. I mean, that's pretty bad. And then you look at the wins. They beat the Rockets by 2, and they beat the Raptors by 1, the Hawks by 6. You would say, and the Kings by 6. Those are a lot closer games. They're winning by a lot closer margin than they're losing, which means that they are behind a lot. And it's really hard to play from behind. I mean, it becomes a mental thing of here we go again, we're behind. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess you can talk to your teammates and be like, "Oh, let's just do what we always do and buckle down. We've been in this situation before." And it creates veteran experienced players. But I kind of want to just win a game.
Just outright the
Yeah.
whole way and not worry about it. Just it's a 5 point lead at the end of one. It's a 10 point lead at the half. You know what I mean? It just keeps getting bigger, and you just kind of feel like, yeah, this is good. That doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
that's what I would like. I would like to have a game where we just plain Jane win it?
Just plain Jane win it. Well, let's talk about the rest of the NBA for just a minute. So, Lakers still have the best record at 11-4. Are they the best team in the league?
Probably top. I mean, top to bottom, I don't think so, but you've got the right people, and that'll get you a lot that you maybe shouldn't normally get. That'll get you a lot of calls that maybe you wouldn't normally get. Anthony Davis is a freak of nature. So that being said, that's kind of a plus thing to think about is you have him, and if you have him, a lot of things are possible. If LeBron, and he settled into that backup role, that kind of like I'm going to help Anthony, get his year
Yeah.
going. That was his best decision ever because that team is so much more diverse and so much more talented with Anthony running one and LeBron kind of helping him out.
Nope.
Yeah, they're still the best team until somebody proves otherwise.
So when we look at the East, the Celtics are 8-4, the Bucks are 9-5, the 76ers are 9-5, Pacers 8-5, and the Nets are 9-6. Who, if you had to bet right now, put all your money on one of those teams, which one of those teams wins the East?
The Nets.
You think they're going to be able to play together, and Kyrie's not going to be hurt all year or play? I mean, he's going to play at some point and help, or
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's back. They lost tonight to the Cavs, but I still feel like there's a bit of it's his first game with James Harden and stuff like that. So there's going to be a bit of a break in period. Who knows how bad that's going to be or how long it's going to take? But there's always one. I still think that Kevin Durant, once he gets in that playoff mode,
yep.
man, there's no Kevin Durant's the best player in the league. Like you can say what you want about LeBron, you can say what you want about Anthony Davis because I like both those guys, but Kevin Durant is the best player in the league.
Okay.
He is fantastic. So
you heard it here first, right here. That was Parker telling you that LeBron sucks, and that
if you listen to any other sports casting anywhere, you probably heard it there too.
You probably did. I think you're probably right. So Karis LeVert, let's talk about him for just a minute. Went to Indiana from Brooklyn in that trade.
He went to Houston.
Well,
and
yeah,
then he went to Indiana.
correct.
Which is interesting.
Well, there was a whole lot of movement in that trade. There was like 27 players and 15 draft picks. I don't know how it all worked out. I don't know how they figured that crap out.
That was a big move, yep.
But it was a lot of movement. So, and then during the physical, it's required when you're swapping teams. During an MRI, as part of the physical, the doctors found a mass on his left kidney, and as he put it, his trade could have possibly saved his life. He hasn't felt any symptoms. He didn't know anything. He didn't, hasn't felt any different. He's been playing, but there's definitely a mass on his kidney. They haven't figured out if it's cancerous yet. They don't know what the plan of action is. They won't know that until they know what it is, but they've done a biopsy. So he's out for a little bit, and we wish him the best. I want him to get healthy and play basketball because I think that's number one is that he's healthy. But that's amazing. I mean, that to me is amazing that you can be there and that you don't have any idea. He had no idea that was there. But the trade gives him a physical, and next thing you know, he knows something's wrong. And that's what it's there for. I think that, and the fact that I think that when you buy a car, you want to have a mechanic look at it, right? So yeah. So when you're getting a new player, you have somebody look at him and make sure that all his parts and pieces are working. So, but I think that's fantastic that even happened. It's one of those. It's a good story. I mean, hopefully it'll end well.
Every year you hear about somebody who had every year it seems like somebody dies because they had an underlying heart condition that they didn't know about or something like that. They were in spring training or they were in fall conditioning and somebody gets hurt or somebody collapses or there's usually every year there's something going on. So this is a positive side of that. I don't understand how the trade is still good.
That was my question too. Maybe there's a timeline or a time, but I mean, if it was during the physical, you'd think that they would just say, well, he doesn't qualify or he doesn't count. So maybe they compensation some other way. I don't know. But
James Harden's already played a game, so it's not like
they can.
It's not like you're gonna take him back.
No takes backsies.
No take backsies.
So okay, so let's talk about one more thing. The Adam Silver apparently after witnessing some opposing players disregarding new league rules against unnecessary contact on game nights, they decided, the NBA has decided to move team security into the midcourt area to dissuade violations that include hugging and handshakes. So now hugging is banned, and going to be enforced by security.
That's right. We're gonna have our guards out there, our thugs out there. They'll beat you down if you don't stop shaking hands or
If
something.
you don't stop hugging, we're going to physically touch you. And how? I mean, how are they going to stop? What are they going to do? Step in and grab them? Isn't that the hug?
Yeah, but they're cleared. They're authorized for it.
They've
So I
been
guess.
vaccinated. The security.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's like, what are you gonna do? Hey, stop it, or I'll tell you to stop again. Because if I grab you, it's the same thing as what you just did. It's kind of silly, but
It's counterintuitive, that's for sure.
but it is the league rule. It's the policy. There's no unnecessary contact, right, on game nights, and that's unnecessary contact. I mean, but it's part of what you do as a player. It's part of one of those things that you do. You mean there's hugs, there's handshakes, there's you know what I mean. That just is a thing. So I don't know how you break that habit as a player when that's what you're used to. So you see some guy you used to play with, he was on his team for 5 years, you're gonna go over and say hi. That's just what you do. Anyway, it seems odd. But the NBA for the week of the 13th through the 19th had 11 new positive COVID cases out of 502 players. And then the 16th, the Grizzlies Trailblazers game is the 16th game this year that's been postponed.
Wow,
So
that's a lot of games.
it does seem like a lot, doesn't it? So it ain't no bubble this year. So I mean, do with that what you will. The bubble worked great. They should go back to the bubble for 77 games. And you know they can't do that.
Yeah, there have been a bunch of guys who've already said they're not going to do that.
Yeah. All right.
We'll
So
see.
kind of at the halfway point, we are going to go into the second half of the show, and the second half is brought to you by BossKittyShop.com and BossKittyLive.com. Boss Kitty hand-dyed yarns this Valentine's Day celebrate their obsession with a BossKittyShop.com gift card, and be sure to tune in to BossKittyLive.com at 6 p.m. every Monday and Wednesday, and 11 a.m. on every other Sunday for fun, fiber, games, tutorials, and the occasional F-bomb. That's Boss Kitty hand-dyed yarns, yarn so boss you'll knit your pants.
Classic.
So, second half of the show is NFL for the most part, and we'll see how much time we have. I want to talk. Um, so, I want to talk about the NFL and the divisional round and the 4 games that we saw over the weekend. But first, in our never-ending quest to make sure that Al Bundy gets his credit, I want to
That's
make
funny.
I want to make sure that everyone knows about his 4 touchdowns. So we're doing that, and then all right. So let's talk about games. Let's start with Buffalo, Baltimore. Let's start with
Ooh.
the AFC. Buffalo, Baltimore, right off the bat. Buffalo wins it 17-3. A fantastic defensive effort by the Buffalo Bills, to be honest with you, but it didn't hurt. Well, actually, it did hurt.
Did.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson
Didn't go well.
didn't he goes out with a concussion.
Yeah.
And then your kind of your game relies on Tyler Huntley. Um, that's a big drop down. And
Yeah, it didn't seem in line, does it? Doesn't when you have a starting quarterback like that, you kind of set yourself up for failure because usually there's only one.
yeah, usually. And the other guy, Lamar Jackson's been playing all year long, and I don't know how many reps Huntley's got all year, but he was 6 of 13 for 60 yards.
Not terrible.
It wasn't awful. He ran 3 times for 32 yards,
Well, he's a
10.7.
backup quarterback. You just ask him to keep the ship afloat most of the time.
Right.
You're not normally asking him to
For a play or two.
start.
Yeah.
Start getting us a sail.
But he's a great runner. I mean, he ran for 32 yards. He's one more run, and he'd have been the leading rusher for the game for Baltimore. Anyway, Josh Allen was 23 of 37, 206 yards, 1 touchdown. It was kind of, what's the term I'm looking for? It was a ugly football game. It was defense. If you like defense, that was a football game for you to watch. Not much scoring, not much offense. Neither team did much. Buffalo ran for 32 yards.
Yeah, they could not run the ball.
Buffalo's offense, 238 yards of total offense. I mean, that's nothing. And if you take out the sack yardage, it's 18 yards less. Baltimore ran for 150 and had 190 yards passing, 340 yards, but those are pedestrian numbers. Let's just say that. And
get those numbers up. Those are rookie.
and neither team really looked great, but the Buffalo defense did what they needed to do, and it didn't hurt that there were, you know, Baltimore fumbled the football 5 times, but didn't lose any of them.
It's a pretty good deal.
That's there were 6 fumbles in the game. No turnovers in the football game. Well, there's 1 interception by Lamar Jackson, but no fumble turnovers in the football game. I was like, how do you fumble 6 times the ball hits the ground? Nobody on the other team could ever, either team could recover it. Anyway, it was missed field goals. Justin Tucker, who's money, right?
Yeah, until he's not.
One for 3. Tyler Bass for Buffalo had a great season. 1 for 3. It was just one of those games where you just it. Mm-hmm. It was ugly, I thought.
Yeah, everyone's money until they're not. Justin Tucker.
Everyone's money until they're not. I guess that's probably true. All right, let's move on to the second game in the AFC, and this one also with a concussion. Kansas City and Cleveland. Kansas City wins at 22-17 and kind of fights off the Cleveland comeback because Cleveland had
the too. It made me people a little nervous.
Cleveland had the momentum in the second half. That they were coming. And
yeah, they were on the way.
That touchdown that wasn't a touchdown that turned into a touchback.
Right.
With the helmet to helmet contact that wasn't called. And everyone's all crying about the helmet to helmet contact. I'm telling you, it's not reviewable. They didn't call it, so nothing you can do. But you got to hang on to the football. I mean,
you absolutely
do. Because even if you don't cross the goal line with it, you hang on to it. You're going to get the ball at the 1. You're right there. So
yeah. It's the conflict, though. You preach the win.
I know.
You got to fight for the yards, fight for the touchdown, things like that. And he did, but some dude laid the lumber on his head.
Yeah. No, it was.
I'm just saying, I'd drop the ball too. Everyone I know would. If that guy came in and put his helmet on my helmet, we're all dropping the ball.
Yeah. So how do we feel about 35-year-old Chad Henne?
I feel like he didn't get a first down, so
he got 1.
He's getting a lot more credit. Well, he threw
for 1.
A pass.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is everyone's talking about this play where he bucked up and ran for 9.5 yards.
Yeah.
At full speed, dead into a linebacker. Probably the least advised thing of his entire career. He did it.
But he was fired up because
he thought it was a first down. He was jacked.
He did. He got up and celebrated that like it was the biggest thing he had ever done, and it might have been.
He took him he put him in a position to get a first down.
Good for him, because how many opportunities do you get to play in an AFC divisional playoff game at home? You know what I mean? You're thrust in there, and the starter goes down.
Not that many.
There's not that many, and so
I've never. So
Patrick Mahomes went out with he got hammered. The tackle didn't look that bad.
Didn't look that bad, no.
I keep watching it over and over again. I'm like, how on earth did he get a concussion? And the only thing I can figure is the way the arm was underneath his head and they hit the ground. Maybe his helmet, his neck, or whatever snapped, or he hit his arm as they landed, because his helmet doesn't even look like it ever hits the ground.
I'm pretty sure it does. I'm pretty sure that was the concussion, was his helmet hitting the ground. But again, I started trying to think, when was the last time I saw Patrick Mahomes tackled?
Right.
And then I was like, maybe he's always been made of glass and we just didn't know.
Yeah, he never gets hit, right? So
he's always getting rid of the ball. So
he was as wobbly as I've ever seen a player try and stand up. Oh my goodness.
That was suck, because that in 20 minutes he's gonna, after seeing the docs for a few minutes and things like that, he's gonna want to go back in.
Yeah.
But after that public display, we can't let you back in. We'll kill us.
He was at practice today. He is still in the concussion protocol, though.
I think he'll be cleared to play.
Probably, because that's kind of what you figure will happen. I can't imagine that this is going to sound conspiratorial, and not that we've ever said any conspiracy theories on here before, but
you have a good conspiracy.
I mean, the NFL has kind of hitched their wagon to Mahomes as the new Tom Brady, right?
I don't know if I get that vibe.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a wave, but I don't think they've, quote, unhitched from Brady.
Well, they
What I
can't
mean is
yet.
like the NBA is using Curry. Like, hey, look at this. We're flashy. We're new. We've got appeal, but they're still hitched to LeBron. I don't think the NFL is off of Tom Brady. I just think that maybe they're kind of showing their new toy off. But at the end of the day, it's not Old Faithful because it looks like Tom Brady's gonna get back to another Super Bowl.
It'd be Brady and Mahomes.
Brady v Mahomes. Yeah, oh, what a great matchup.
And I hope not, but that's just me. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so he's still in concussion protocol. Who knows if he's coming back out? But I have a feeling that you're right that he will be able to play on Sunday when
Yeah,
they take on Buffalo. So that sets up a Buffalo. We'll talk about that in a minute. You know what? Hold on to the conference championship. Hold on to that.
hold on to it.
Hold on to that thought. But that's Buffalo, Kansas City next Sunday on CBS. So let's talk about the third game, and that's the Rams Packers in Green Bay, where it was sort of snowing, but not really. Um,
Yeah, it was a poor showing by that Wisconsin weather.
I really wanted some snow. I wanted that to be like
Well,
six
that
inches
was the game
deep.
that they sold us is
Right.
that we were going to have another snow blowing incident, and we didn't get anything.
no, no, we didn't.
That's a little salt in your wound.
Thank you. The only visible snow you could see it when they would pan to the lights and do whatever, but you could see the snow, but you could only see it piling up on the tarp that was covering
Yeah,
up the lower bowl seats. That's all you could ever see.
it
Um,
was it was no, it was weak.
so
Weak sauce.
Green Bay wins 32-18. It was never really in doubt. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. You didn't feel that confident in L.A.
No, Rodgers 23 of 36, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked good, not great, good. Jared Goff 21 of 27. He looked good. I thought 174 yards with a touchdown. I think the knock I have on Jared Goff is deep balls. Um, I think he they tend to. I don't know if it's play calling or just the way the system is, but he throws that ball quickly. He does a lot of what Drew Brees does, and tries to get the ball out and let receivers make plays, and that's great and all when your finger's not hurt too. So I don't know. The Rams had 174 yards passing and 96 yards. Cam Akers had 90 yards rushing, and Jared Goff had 6, and that was that was their offense. Uh, Jared Goff did, you know, I don't know. It was Robert Woods 8 catches, 48 yards. They're short catches, like I said, six yards a catch, right?
Yeah,
And Josh Reynolds did have 3 catches for 65 yards. Those are 21 yards a catch, but the long was 28. So it wasn't like he doesn't throw deep balls. They just literally do not. When they do, they're incomplete or intercepted. But I feel like
yeah. They don't have a true deep threat, anyways. I mean,
right.
Robert Woods is a mid route guy. Cooper Cup's a short route guy.
And
I don't care about Van Jefferson. He doesn't impress me.
and
So
let's be fair that Cooper Cup didn't play in this game,
yeah,
so
that's
that
true.
didn't help at all.
Well, yeah, and that should open up your
Right,
slightly next tiered route.
right.
So
And the Packers, Aaron Jones, 14 carries, 99 yards. That's a little over 7 yards a carry. He had a touchdown. And Jamal Williams, 12 carries, 65 yards. They ran for 188 yards. The Packers did. So there's 480 yards of offense by the Packers. They just you never felt like they were lost control of it at any point. They just were right there. I thought it was, the Rams. This is kind of what I thought would happen. The Rams, got up, they beat the Seahawks, right? Played their defense was
yeah,
awesome, and then they ran into a team that has an offense, a really good offense that clicks all the time.
yeah,
Yeah, and
it
so
didn't go so well down the stretch.
it really didn't. All right, so last game we want to talk about is the other NFC game, the late game on Sunday, right? This is Tampa Bay and New Orleans, Buccaneers Saints. New Orleans, the home team. Tampa Bay wins it 30-20. Tom Brady is 18 of 33 for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't look overly great either. I will be honest with you.
Yeah, he did not.
He did not. He does a lot more jawing and complaining at the referees. If you watch, every time they go to break, he's sitting there yelling at a referee about something. And then, of course, at the end of the game, he tried to high five one.
I love that. I thought that was hilarious.
Anyway,
I thought it was even funnier that the ref was like, "No,
no,
I'm not gonna do that, bud." Oh, it was so good.
he can't. I mean, he can't. The natural. That's the problem is for me. The natural reaction would be I would high five. If somebody throws their hand up. That's what your natural reaction is to go do it, right?
Oh, I think he was trying to pull one over on the ref. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think he was just like, here, spur of the moment, here, high five, and see if he did it. You know what I mean? But
But he didn't.
but he didn't. Good on you, Mr. Referee.
Good resolve, ref.
It really was. So the story of this game really was Drew Brees, 19 of 34, 134 yards and 3 interceptions. He had 1 touchdown. That's by the way, that's a QBR of 31.7 and a rating of 38.1. Those are terrible. Best quarterback in this game was Jameis Winston.
Yeah, he had a day, didn't he? threw a touchdown and everything.
Jameis Winston had a perfect quarterback rating of 158.3. 1 for 1, 56 yards, a touchdown. Hit the bomb to Tre'Quan Smith on the trick play, and that was so wide open. I mean, there was no one there.
Yeah, it didn't take a lot of effort.
How do you? Here's my question: how do you, as a defense, see that the quarterback, a backup quarterback, is lined up out here somewhere, not behind center? He's lined up out here. How do you not immediately go, "Hey, there might be a pass involved"?
Well, I'm sure you say it. I'm sure you think it.
Right.
Or no, I'm sure you say it. I'm sure you communicate to your team, guys, look at this. I'm sure it comes up. But whether or not you're going to do anything about it, whether or not you're going to commit your offense in possibly the wrong way or your defense in possibly the wrong way, I don't know. I think that is one of those moments where it's 50-50 that that's a fake.
Really?
And he's just out there to distract you.
Well,
and pull somebody out of the box or whatever. And when he does that, you're going to get hosed.
I would tell you it's in New Orleans' DNA. Had Taysom Hill been there, they would have been running plays with him. He wouldn't have been faking. He would have been taking the ball and running or throwing a pass. That's what they do with him. So they use Jameis the same way. And, I would have said, dude, everybody take 2 steps back right off the bat. Because, why else would he be in there? I'm willing to give up a 10-yard run, but I'm not willing to give up a 56-yard pass play for a touchdown. It was just blown coverage, probably.
But even in that type of scenario, you have to think, like, how often are they going to go deep with it?
Like, right. Well, yeah, I mean,
it's hit or miss.
If it's open, got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to throw it.
And you don't know that as a defender till it's too late.
That's correct. Devin White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 11 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He was pretty good.
He had a good day.
Had the interception. Was a 28-yard return. He recovered a fumble. The Jared Cook fumble. He was all over the place. So well done you. Anyway, Tampa Bay looked better than New Orleans. They just did.
They really did.
They really did.
They played more complete. New Orleans looked a little disjointed. They couldn't get anything going with Kamara. It killed them.
Kamara didn't have a bad day. 85 yards, 4.7 to carry. They I don't think they went to it enough. They didn't try and establish that run. Had they done that a little bit sooner, just establish that run. They like to pass the ball. I know Drew Brees is a guy who he wants to throw it 40 times a game, 50 times a game. I know he does. But Alvin Kamara is like the best running back in the NFL.
He's really freaking good.
Wow, 1A, 1B with Dalvin Cook, maybe.
He's better than Dalvin Cook. Don't disrespect him like that.
He's only better than Dalvin Cook because he's on New Orleans and they're winning.
And also because he can stay healthy.
Oh, whatever. All right. So I bet we'll have to go look and see how many yards they had because I haven't looked that up yet. But that's a whole nother argument. All right. So that brings us to conference championship games. Let's talk about the AFC. Bills, Chiefs. Who wins and why?
The Chiefs win if Pat Mahomes plays. The Bills win if Pat Mahomes does not. The reason why the Chiefs win is because they're just too loaded. They're too experienced. They've been here before. They've done this. I have a feeling that these moments have been almost too big for the Bills, but it hasn't quite caught up to them yet. But soon there will be a moment that will be too big for them. That'll be playing against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs have it. I think as long as Pat Mahomes is there. But if he's not there, you're relying on Chad Henne. He's going to have to throw the ball. I mean, he came in, he ran a couple of plays, he did some stuff, but they really were conservative with him. He's going to have a more open and complete game. And I just there's a reason why he's a backup.
I'm rooting for Chad Henne, by the way. I'm almost hoping that Patrick Mahomes doesn't play and that Chad Henne wins this game for Kansas City and takes them, a la Nick Foles, to the to the Super Bowl.
Classic Folsey.
Right? But that's not going to happen. Mahomes is going to play. The question is, what happens if he gets hit again? Right?
Yes,
Because
that's a big one. Is they'll be keen to protect him moving forward, which means that he's not going to run traditional offenses.
It's true, and once you've had one, you're more susceptible to another. So it's you got to. They're going to want to protect him, keep him from getting another concussion, but letting him run up the middle, which is not normally his thing, by the way. Let's just say that he's not a run up the middle kind of guy.
He's not a between the tackles guy. No.
So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I feel like Buffalo's defense is really good.
They seemed to play really good, didn't they?
Yeah.
I guess a player as dynamic as Lamar, at least for a little bit.
Well, Lamar Jackson, I think, is more dynamic than Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes has better weapons.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, did you see that play that Tyreek Hill got the first on? I mean, I'm sure you saw it, but
yeah,
it was a simple kind of like a little zig route. He got 15 yards on the dude, like in terms of space.
Yeah,
he was open for days, and this guy was on him at the line of scrimmage. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. Put your best guy on him. Doesn't matter. And being fair, I thought it was gonna be a run though.
Kansas City just has better talent. I think they are the better team. If Buffalo can get inside the head of Patrick Mahomes, not literally because that'd be another concussion, but figuratively, get inside his head, I think they stand a good chance if they can maybe make him think about his concussion, maybe think about getting hit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe he'll be a little gunshot. That's something that can happen. You get you get back there and you start evacuating the pocket prematurely, or running when you don't need to, running out of bounds short or throwing the ball away. That can happen. I mean, I don't know how many concussions he's had in his life, so I don't know how many he's had to overcome. So I have no idea. But I just know that that's one of those things that you get. Quarterbacks can get gunshot. Anyway, if it happens, if they can get inside his head early, if they can show that they're stout right off the bat, first quarter is going to mean everything for the Bills defense. I think for the Bills the whole year. I like Josh Allen. I'm going to tell you this. I watched him play one college football game. Just one. It was the only one on TV. It was Oregon and Wyoming. Right?
Classic.
Yeah. And he did not impress me. It was not okay. It was like, this guy's a first-round draft pick? Really? Oh, yeah. Now at this point, so, somebody has definitely done something with him. I give credit to the Bills coaching staff because he's all that. He's really, really a good quarterback. I don't know how good. I can't tell you what level he's at. We'll know more after this game, I think. But, okay, if I'm going for it, let me throw out a score. 24 to 21, Chiefs. Field goal late to win it. How about that?
Ooh, bold take, bold strategy.
That's what I'm saying. All right, NFC game. It's the Battle of the Bays. Tampa at Green. Who wins that one, and why?
Green Bay wins it because nobody's stopping Green Bay. Not anytime soon.
You don't think? Yeah. Well, you don't think Tampa's defense can do to Aaron Rodgers what they did? They're a more rounded team. Well, I say that, but I think Alvin Kamara should have been. I don't know. I think the New Orleans scheme was not good enough offensively. That's what my bottom line is. I don't think they schemed well enough to play against Tampa Bay, and so they got shut down and couldn't adjust. I don't know what happened, but I feel like Green Bay is a more rounded. You want to shut down the pass? We got running backs. If you want to shut down the running backs, we got a passer. I feel like they're a better overall team, maybe Green Bay than New Orleans. Does that make sense? Offense, anyway.
It absolutely does.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So
it makes sense. No, I'm with you there. I just think Green Bay's has got too much vibe, too much of the right stuff going on for them.
And they're playing at home.
They're playing at home.
Playing at home's not going to hurt.
There's just a lot that works for them in this game that doesn't work for Tampa. And also, Tom Brady's got to play outdoors. Doesn't do that very often. Oh, and yeah, when he went to his retirement team, it's all in hot weather. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out.
I mean, that's what you do, right? You move to South Florida when
he's done. Yeah, exactly. He got his buddy to move down there with him.
Right. I mean,
Right.
all right. So Tampa Bay at Green Bay is 12:05 Pacific on Fox. Buffalo at Kansas City is 3:40 Pacific on CBS. If you want to watch on Sunday, both games on Sunday. Let's talk about real quick. Philip Rivers announced yesterday, I think, that he was retiring from pro football at the age of 39. Um, is Philip Rivers a Hall of Famer? Is my question.
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, the dude's what, fifth in yards, fifth in touchdowns, and he's 12th in percentage overall, like all time. Like that's pretty good. Like he's doing very well. Is he a first ballot? No, because the fact that we're even having this conversation tells you that he's not a shoe in. But he'll get in. And it won't be too long. He won't have to wait too long. I would say probably second year or maybe third year is available. He'll get in. He's been a fantastic quarterback. He's got the Dan Marino syndrome where he doesn't have any titles, but it's not the end of the world.
You know, he's been to one AFC Championship game and he lost it.
Damn,
He's
that's
been
tough.
he's only been in he's played for 17 years, right? And he's been to 12 playoff games. He's 5-7. Um, and his playoff record, passing record is not very good. I don't know. I feel like he was a great regular season quarterback,
Right.
and just maybe it's the team, maybe it's him. I don't know what, but
Both.
yeah, a little of both. He led the league in passing once, 4,700 yards in 2010. He led the league in completion percentage once, 69.5 in 2013. He led the league in attempts and completions once, same season, 2015. He led the league in interceptions twice. Um, he did not. His first few years in San Diego, touchdowns and interceptions were 22-9, 21-15 is not great, but 34-11, 28-9, 30-13. Those are good seasons, right? He's got a 32-11 on there, but let's go to the middle here. 31-18, 33-21, 23-20.
They started having receiver issues. They started having coaching issues. They
Yeah,
started getting on this
sure,
carousel,
sure.
changing schemes and changing this. The fact of the matter is that this guy managed to go through like 6 or 7 coaches.
It's true.
With nobody trying to draft him out of the
All right.
position. And then he left that team and went to another team, which had, I mean, it's Jacoby Brissett, but he took that job too.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's a winner and he's a competitor and he's a great regular season quarterback, but you got to have those too.
Yeah, I suppose.
There's a bunch of those guys out there who were fantastic, at this time, but maybe not this time. Maybe it didn't work out, And he was playing in an AFC that he was competing with Peyton Manning, who is with the Colts. And then when Peyton Manning we thought he would leave, nope, he goes to Denver instead. Dang it.
He's
like it's just tough.
he ends his career with 404 rushing attempts for 647 yards and 4 touchdowns. So
Classic.
Yeah, because he's not a runner.
How many fumbles though? I think that's the real question.
Rushing fumbles. I'm with you. Rushing fumbles.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It is
he's got a bunch of regular season fumbles.
It is a lot, by the way. He is.
Oh, that's right. Because in the NFL they count any fumble it's just a fumble. Like I'm thinking about fumbles on the run. You know what I mean? As opposed to like when he's clearly running, as opposed to when he gets sacked.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't matter. They don't matter. So yeah, 111 regular season fumbles, and three postseason fumbles. It's 114 over 17 years. So
that's not the worst I've ever seen.
He did lead the league in 2012 with 15 fumbles.
Dalvin Cook had 7 in his first year. so there's that.
Okay. I think he'll get in. I feel like he's one of those guys that you're gonna look at his statistics and go, okay.
Did you ever hear about his minivan?
Philip Rivers?
Yeah.
No.
His special. So all right. So quick side note.
Yeah.
When the team moved from San Diego to L.A., his family was still, I think, living in San Diego or was living outside of San Diego somewhere. But it made it about an hour and a half to 2-hour commute to L.A. and they didn't want to relocate. So he bought like an old, like a van, like an Astrovan is the
Yeah.
way I picture it. It didn't say what it was, but I pictured an Astrovan. Converted it to where the inside had a couple of TVs and a desk and things like that, and it was all nice. And he hired a driver, and he would watch film to and from practice.
Wow.
You'd spend 2 hours a day there, 2 hours a day back, watching film and taking notes. And if you ever want to talk about a Hall of Famer, that's it right there.
And he left his wife with the 8 kids.
Yeah, I think it's like 14 or something like that.
He doesn't have as many as Ryan Fitzpatrick, but he's close.
Between those two, those two families will crowd a room.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: Drew Brees is the next one.
Yeah. Everyone keeps saying he's going to, but
I feel like, okay, let me just say what I feel. I feel like that playoff loss was a bitter thing for him. I feel like he had envisioned him going out with a Super Bowl win, or at least in the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's the way I envisioned it. I was
rooting
to get through it,
right? But I mean, I think every quarterback is thinking that. But I feel like he truly thought this is our good team. This is our year. This is a chance for us. And if I can get back to the Super Bowl, I'll retire. Even win or lose at that point won't matter. But he didn't. And so now I feel like he's going to have questions. Can I do it again? Do I want to go through all that offseason crap? Do I want to, you know what I mean, put myself through it again one more time?
Also, do you want the narrative to be that Tom Brady forced you out of the NFC? He moved to your division, immediately took it. He didn't win the division, but immediately bumped you out of a playoff. Like, it's not a good look.
If that wasn't the narrative,
that back half Tampa team was better than that first half Tampa team.
It's true. Well, and then if that wasn't the narrative, it is now, thanks to Parker. By the way, you heard it here.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's something. I don't think he's taking that into consideration, but I feel like he's probably, you have to at some point go, what do I have to do? What am, all the stuff that I'm going to have to do to get back to that point. You know what I mean? I got to go through a whole nother offseason. I got to devote a lot of time,
I like the idea that maybe there's an option there where he's like, I don't have to keep myself healthy.
Maybe
spend the whole offseason eating ho-hos and watching TV.
If you know you're not coming back, then you could do that, right? I mean,
yes. I have a feeling like some of these guys, some of these Hall of Famers, these legends, they're gonna be that way forever. These guys are gonna wake up early and work out. And
the trivia question.
Because
that's what we got to do. So trivia question again, brought to you by Stave and Stone Winery in Hood River. The tasting room at the winery at the vineyard is open 3827 Fletcher Drive, 7 days a week, 12 to 6 for patio dining. Downtown tasting room is temporarily closed. Go to staveandstone.com and check out their selection of award-winning wines. For more information, call 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750, or email them at info@staveandstone.com. Stave and Stone, wines with personality. You remember the trivia question?
Nope. Yeah, hockey.
Yeah.
Let's see here. It's a hockey. Most points in the game.
It's a hockey.
Who and how many?
Right. Who and how many? That's correct. Who and how many points?
I listened.
I don't feel like you're ever really listening.
I was listening all the way.
So, got a guess?
What is it? So, okay, because I don't know a lot about hockey.
Right.
There was a guy named Hull, right?
Yeah, sure. Which one?
Let's go with him.
Bobby or Brett?
Let's go with Bobby.
Let's go with Bobby.
Let's say the total was 14.
Wow, that is a lot. 14, by the way. That is a high guess. I'm going to tell you.
Well, I think he scored 7 goals and also got 7 assists.
Wow, that's a good night. Don't you think?
That's a big day.
That's a big day. I feel like those are double header numbers. Anyway,
and it's right though.
No, it's not. Long story short, the answer is Daryl Sittler of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Decent.
Decent. 10 is the number. He had 6 goals and 4 assists.
Why did 14 seem unreasonable to you?
It's a lot. 14. 14. No, I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I'm just 14.
What did he have? Did he have 8 assists and 2 goals?
6 goals and 4 assists.
Jesus.
They won 11-4 over the Boston Bruins. And he had 10 points of the 11 goals. He accounted for an assist or a goal on 10 of them.
It's all those juice pucks. They won offense.
It was. And by the way, here's my extra bonus question. Shouldn't it be Maple Leaves?
No,
Toronto Maple
there's only
Leaves.
one leaf, and it's on the jersey.
I mean, leaf plural is leaves.
They are talking about a singular leaf.
The one maple leaf.
The one maple leaf, the one true Canadian maple leaf.
All right, and I'll buy that if that's truly what they're talking about. I just feel like it's plural, and you added an S to it. I mean, hey, this is the Toronto Maple Leaf. These are the Toronto Maple Leafs. Does not sound right. Just sounds weird to me. I don't know. You could be right. So I do what I do. So as we go out, I want everybody to see the picture here of the Vince Lombardi Trophy. This is what they're going to be playing for in about 3 weeks. It's a replica. I'm pretty sure that might not be the actual trophy, but that's that's what's on the table, literally, for all those teams that are playing in the conference championship this weekend. Anything else? You got anything else that you want to tell anybody on our way out the door?
Yeah, kind of an interesting thing. If you look closely, the Ravens have done something that nobody else has ever done, which is they have made pockets in their jerseys for their players in the cold weather. What? It's not a. It's
they made pockets.
I noticed it while I was watching the game, and then I googled it afterward. So you know how normally players like quarterbacks, they'll wear like that waistband with like the hand warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is stitched into their jersey.
Oh.
So it literally looks like they're wearing a hoodie for a jersey.
Really?
With like the kangaroo pouch. Yeah. Next time you're checking it out, next time you're watching it or you see a highlight or something like that, look at it. Lamar Jackson wears it a lot. A couple linemen wear them. Yeah. The center wears it for sure. But when they're running around, it looks like this little pouch on their stomach is just bouncing around because it's just this little spot where they put their hands. It's fleece lined. But the Ravens own the patent on it.
They patented pockets on a shirt. Yeah. I feel like that's already been done.
No, not a shirt, on an NFL uniform.
Okay.
For the day, everybody.
Okay. So I'm telling you, this is the kind of hard-hitting journalism you'll only hear.
I thought about it earlier when we were talking about him, but I got wrapped up. The next thing you said, and it went away, and then it just came back just now. So
that's good. Good timing. I like it. So that's all we have for today. We're going to be back on the 27th, next Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. NBA update. We'll cover the conference championship games, do a recap. We are not going to do a Super Bowl preview that week because we've got 2 weeks. So we'll cover a little bit more of the NHL. We're going to get to college basketball next week, I promise, because we need to touch on it a little bit. It's like the only other thing that's happening right now, right? Yeah, so we should probably talk about it. And we'll have time next week. We can cover it. Again, we're live streaming on YouTube every weekend. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can email us, lammsports@gmail.com. Go to our website. It's up here right now. If you see it, it's lammsports.com. Just go there and you can see there's the, talks about us. There's the past shows. You can click on the link, take you right to YouTube. You can watch the last show. I will post this show tomorrow or whenever I get around to it. I'll post it tomorrow. And the new trivia question will be on there. Plus, you can look at the trivia question here, and there's a button. You can just hit the button, and it will take you to show you where you can find the answer to the trivia question. So go check out our website. That's lammsports.com. Want to thank our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stone Winery, Wine Estates in Hood River. This has been the Best Lamm Sports Shoe. Wow. That did not.
Sports shoe.
Shoe. It's a really big shoe. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.